Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan MS Pitts. It's Ukraine War breaking news update for the 13th of June 2024. It's just surveying Twitter before I went off to spend some time with my missus, and my goodness, there's a massive piece of news that seems to be filtering out right now. I don't quite know what it means, what the time frames concerned with this statement are. So as Tendar says here, German source, the presidents of the USA and Ukraine, so Biden and Zelenskyy, signed during the G7 meetings a security agreement, which we knew, which includes a supply of entire F-16 fighter squadrons, equipment and weapons for those planes and Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine. This is big. Now, details are thin on the ground. I was like, really? Is that the case? So I thought, let's go straight to the horse's mouth. Vladimir Zelensky's Twitter feed. Let's have a look to see what he says. And indeed, it appears to be the case. So we will do whatever it takes to end Putin's illegal war. That's why Ukraine welcomes Britain's commitment to continuing to support Ukraine's military, economy and people. And it's in an increasingly uncertain world, Britain and Ukraine are united in wanting a secure future for our people. Okay, so that was one tweet, which is pretty standard, like Rishi Sunak over at G7 getting involved, helping out. Then the next one is, okay, 9 minutes later, this agreement is about, so I think he's going back to talk about, because before that's Canada, I'm just trying to work out exactly what he's replying to, but I don't think there's anything. This agreement, so I presume it's the American agreement, is about security, protecting human life, fostering cooperation and strengthening our nations. It includes steps to guarantee sustainable peace and benefits everyone globally, because Russia's war against Ukraine is a real global threat. I thank President Biden for his leadership reflected in this agreement and for his support for Ukraine through the years. I also thank our teams for making sure that the details of the agreement are really good. Okay, then it starts getting a bit more funky here. And by that, I mean, pretty serious. I thank every Ukrainian soldier and all of our people whose courage made this level of alliance between Ukraine and the US possible. I'm proud of our people and what Ukraine can do. And I'm very grateful to all Americans who strengthen American leadership. Interesting point there. I'm very grateful to all Americans who strengthen American leadership. I think this is a kind of veiled comment about disinformation and those who support the leadership who support Ukraine. So in other words, Biden openly supports Ukraine, Trump less so, MAGA Republicans less so, some moderate Republicans very much support Ukraine, and most of the Democratic Party seem to support Ukraine. So he's saying, look, I'm grateful to all Americans who strengthen American leadership. The document includes a detailed, legally binding part ensuring the reliability of America's support for our independence. So then the wording is super important here, right? It is to say that this will be reliable support. So thinking about that 7 months from October through to when the $61 billion package came through for Ukraine, such a wasted time period. And a lot of people saying that the US weren't a reliable partner, weren't a reliable ally. And at the same time, you had North Korea supporting Russia more reliably than the US was supporting Ukraine, was the argument, right? And so the wording is just super, super interesting. So I'm grateful for Americans who support American leadership, and this is going to be a legally binding piece of reliable American support for our independence. US security commitments are based on sustainable security and defense support during this war and a period of peace after it. So during the war and after the war. So this security agreement isn't just about after the war. If there's a peace negotiation and then if we're attacked again, America will be legally bound to support us. This seems to be during the war. We will ensure peace. Okay, the agreement clearly states that America supports Ukraine's effort to gain victory in this war. So now we're talking about victory, not just we're in it for as long as it takes. This isn't victory. Super, super important, this. The agreement includes provisions for advanced defense systems like Patriot and fighter jet squadrons. So it includes provisions for fighter jet squadrons. And then he says explicitly, that's right, plural squadrons, including but not limited to F-16s. WTF. So this is the US supporting Ukraine's effort for victory by providing advanced air defense systems like Patriot and more than one fighter jet squadrons that will include F-16s, but also other planes as well. Wow. The document also details the supply of necessary weapons, their joint production, and strengthening of our country's defence industry through cooperation. This will provide not only security, but also new good jobs for Ukrainians and Americans. Importantly, the agreement addresses Russia's responsibility for this war and its attempts to destroy Ukrainians. America supports fair compensation for the damage caused by Russian strikes and a work on enabling the use of frozen Russian assets to protect and rebuild Ukraine. The agreement includes sanctions and export controls to make Russia feel the pain for what it is doing against the freedom of peoples. This is really strong rhetoric. I appreciate that the philosophy of our security agreement is in fact the philosophy of NATO. Totally agree. The issue of NATO is covered through the text. The document states that the US supports Ukraine's future membership in NATO. So this is something that Biden in the Time magazine has said, yeah, I'm not too worried about Ukraine joining NATO at the moment. It's more about support for Ukraine. But actually, the security agreement with the US talks about Ukraine's accession to NATO and sees this agreement as a bridge to NATO's membership. So I suppose this falls in line with kind of accession to NATO and Biden saying it's not so important right now because this is the bridge. Okay, we're not going to get you into NATO now. You're at war. We can't do that. But here's something to plug that gap and to act as a stepping stone. It is crucial, he says, for all Ukrainians and Europeans to know there will be no security deficit in Europe, which tempts the aggressor to war. We are clearly defining everything, cooperating for victory, making peace guarantees effective, ensuring necessary security for our people. I thank he said, today is a truly historic day. We signed the strongest agreement between Ukraine and the United States since our independence. I thank Biden and his team, as well as US Congress, both parties and chambers for their support. I thank every American heart that does not betray freedom and supports us. Wow. Okay, so no time frame attached, but it does talk about during the war, not after it. It does talk about provisions for victory, and it does talk about Patriots or similar systems and multiple squadrons of F-16 and other planes. Wow. What will those other planes be? Will it be a case of buying other planes from other nations, such as, say, Gripens? Or would it be, I assume you're going to be thinking American planes. I don't think the US would be supporting buying, paying into other countries for their own economic reasons. So it's more likely to be, I don't know, maybe F-18A Super Hornets or some other plane. Who knows? But this is incredibly significant. I'd love to know what you guys think. There isn't too much chatter on the socials at the moment because this has literally just come out. But it is incredibly significant for Ukraine. Incredibly significant. Japan to provide 4.5 billion to Ukraine in 2024. Wow, that's and because they signed another security agreement with Japan. And then look at this. What's going on here? The Sukhoi Design Bureau is on fire in Moscow, media reports. Wow, it's all happening. But anyway, we'll come to that tomorrow. I think it's just incredibly important what we just heard from Zelenskyy himself. And I'm sure, well, I hope the details will be more forthcoming as time passes over the next few days. Belgorod, Shebekino, goodness me, things are happening. Anyway, that's enough from me. I thought you'd want to know that. I think it's super significant. Good news. There is so much, I think, to get more positive about with regard to Ukraine going forward at the moment. This is just the sort of news I like to hear. Take care. Speak soon.